As you dive into wedding planning, you'll start piecing together your vision and style for the day. But first, you need to know how to define what your style is, and then you can create your vision for that style. To help us chat through style, we've actually got Bustld's very own marketing and events manager, Lauren Gomez. Lauren has been with Bustld formally for almost 2 years, but she has worked with Samie at Something Perfect for 4.5 years. So she's seen Bustld before it was even Bustld. Before moving into Charlotte 4.5 years ago, she was in marketing and events in the DC area for 3 years. Lauren, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Always.
As we do every day and most Saturdays and Sundays.
It's nice to have you here and not have to talk about her like she's not here.
Exactly.
Because she isn't.
Well, I mean,
Big debut.
we talk about you all the time. So now everybody
can hear
Here I am,
/see you.
in the flesh.
Yeah, do not disappoint. It's really
Lot of
important.
pressure.
There's so much pressure.
There's.
I don't want any hate mail, but if you have any, you can send it to lauren@bustld.com, and she will definitely get back to you.
Definitely.
It's spelled without an A.
LOREN. There it is.
What?
That's a thing.
Interesting. Okay.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
It's not actually how I spell my name.
No, it's not
Just to
actually.
clarify.
Just to clarify, that is incorrect.
There's a soft X in there. Actually.
Unless you have hate mail, and then it is correct.
Exactly.
If you get a bounce back, that actually means she got it. Yeah, her out of office
a good sign.
Her out of office is a bounce back.
Permanently.
So don't let us down, Lauren. No pressure.
Ooh, okay, I got
but
this.
We're going to define style today, ladies.
Let's do
Ooh,
it.
You guys
let's
excited?
do it. Obviously.
Cool. All right. Well, let's kick it off here. So first off, how do you define your personal style?
Well, really, you look at your everyday kind of, what do you wear? What kind of clothing style? What shops do you, or what stores do you shop in? What kind of house decor? Do you have more like gold and modern type of furniture? Do you have more of that farmhouse look? You really take the cues from your everyday, style.
Yeah. No, that's true. I agree. And it's not just your clothes, like you were saying, like your house too. It's so important.
People don't realize it, but everybody has style. It's just where you look for it.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't know where I shop. I shop online. But like if you look at your house, you can start to
Those are still places, though.
They are.
That's true. I mean, my wardrobe is like 95 Amazon now, so
Define that style.
Define my style.
luck.
I have 5 shirts and 5 sweaters, and I alternate them.
minimalistic, simplistic. See, everybody's got
There
one.
we go. There we go.
Oh my gosh.
So, what are some signs when you're defining your style?
So yeah, I kind of touched on it, like looking at your house. Do you have, do you watch Fixer Uppers, your house like Joanna Gaines? You probably have more of a rustic farmhouse style.
Shiplap.
Exactly. Exactly. Or are you more glamorous? I mean, not just with your house, but, do you like to wear heels on the regular? Do you like to do your makeup every day?
I do.
Things like that. You look good.
Thank
your
you.
makeup looks good today.
Thank you.
Did a good job.
Yeah. Takes a lot of work to look this good.
He does spend a lot of time on his hair, guys.
That is real life.
If you're just listening, you need to go watch the video and compliment Ryan on his hair. That's the way to his heart.
Ryan
is.
gets more haircuts than I do.
Oh, 100%. Probably
Well, that's
more,
normal.
Probably more than you and I combined,
Yes,
actually.
that's probably
That's normal. I
Okay.
think.
So Ryan's
it's
style
completely
is
reasonable.
minimalistic and glamorous.
minimalistic glamour.
Yes, that would be my style.
Okay.
So
On that note.
Yeah. So on that note, so as you're tying in more of your home decor, how does all that work?
Yeah. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. I'm the one who writes these, and I'm not
You
even
would think.
paying attention.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you use, more wooden features, more, metal features, you can either be rustic or industrial. If you use a lot of gold or a lot of like concrete, like what's the word? Planters, things like that.
Yeah.
Probably a little more modern. If you shop at Anthropologie, probably a little more boho. If you have some macrame hanging, probably a little more boho.
I don't even know what macrame is.
He's going to Google it
It's
later.
that like knitted. You've seen it before.
Okay.
It's like
I don't know how to describe it.
it's like a knitted, like, and it has like holes almost in it, like almost like a quilt.
You'll see it and you'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what that is.
Got it.
You'll
Okay.
know. You'll know.
It's a fancy word.
It is. But I actually have this couple who has this really cool light that they're like obsessed with, and that's been like the inspiration for most of their wedding.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so you never
What kind
know.
of light?
It's like a Tiffany lamp, and it has like all these cool colors, and like so like you never know.
That's
like
cool.
something like that they were like literally like, this is our favorite piece from our house. I'm like, okay, all right, we can work with that. We can make that work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so cool stuff like that you never, you probably don't notice, but you should take note of when you're defining your style, when you're starting to think about it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's hard to define. I think it's hard for people to be like, what is my style?
Yeah, they just don't know they have one.
Right,
Yeah.
but everybody does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. That's really good advice. So how kind of moving on. So how do you decide on your vibe?
So vibe, I would think, is more like, are you going intimate with a really small guest list? Are you going to have like a huge party and invite all your friends and family and basically everybody you know? Do you want something formal? Do you want something informal? Kind of deciding how you want the day to feel rather than look,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that's like a conversation the two of you kind of have in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people can say, I think vibe is actually easier to define than style,
yeah.
because you can like,
Yeah, I agree
I
with that.
want to just have 50 people at my wedding versus having like 250, or I know that I want it to be relaxed, or I feel like most people want their wedding to be fun.
Yeah.
Like that's
I mean, I hope so.
yeah.
It should be.
Please have a fun wedding.
Please have a
Or
fun
however
wedding.
you define fun, right?
Your guests
Yeah,
will thank you. But I feel like that's a pretty common word when people ask about vibe.
Yeah.
It's fun, relaxed, that
So-
kind of thing.
So what questions do you ask to decide on that? What do you ask yourself?
So like, what do you like to do as a couple? What do you guys do on the weekends? Do you go out to dinner, just the two of you? Or are you meeting up with friends at a bar until, 2 a.m.?
Sure.
Are you going hiking or are you staying at home? Do you go out with your family a lot or do you go out with your friends more often? Questions like that. What does your ideal day and ideal night look like together? And then kind of translate that over to how you want your wedding day. Because, wedding day is a big day, a very important day, obviously, but it's still a day where you're together doing, something together and you want to be able to enjoy that.
Yeah.
And I think looking too, like, what is your like typical vacation like? Or what was a favorite vacation you guys went? Was it like to Fiji, or was it like, laid back hiking or something like that?
Right.
So that can help to define like kind of how you feel too.
Like, why was it your favorite?
Yeah. Like, what about it? Was it with everybody you know? Was it with just the two of you? Like, like bits and pieces like that.
So Lauren, what was your favorite vacation for you and Ricardo?
Ooh, that's hard. So my favorite place was definitely Santorini because I had just dreamed of going there for so many years. But I am definitely a sit on the beach and drink in my hand all day long kind of girl.
Sure.
So probably when we did our all-inclusive in Mexico is definitely up there.
Oh, nice.
Which we're going back to in a week.
Oh my gosh.
So jealous.
So jealous. What was yours?
Ooh, Florence with you
Yeah.
on our honeymoon,
Yeah.
far and away.
Yeah, I would say same.
Yeah, it's not even
Samesies.
Samesies. That was far and away.
Yeah,
Yes.
see, I went to Florence with my mom, and I love my mom.
She's probably
But
listening.
she probably is. Shout out to my mom.
Your mom's actually probably listened to every episode, not just because
Probably.
you're on this.
But I would love to go back with Ricardo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Trace Mama. So can we mix vibes? Like, for instance, Samie tends to like more to go places and to like to Florence and things like that, which I love too. But I also, similar to you, I love to go to the beach. That's kind of my jam and my thing. So how can you mix those two if they're different?
Yeah. There are certain aspects of vibes you can mix. I mean, you can't have an informally formal party.
But what if you could?
So
would be
that
awesome.
kind of mixing of vibes would be really hard to do.
So like that would be like if everyone's wearing sweatpants, but it's
but
seated.
the tuxedo shirt.
Yes, exactly.
There's no rules, guys. If you want to do it, do it.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, you can definitely mix like maybe more of a, formal beach wedding if you, want more of like a relaxed vibe, like maybe the water, the sand, but then still require like, cocktail attire and still decorate elegantly. So that kind of mixing, or you can do like classic ceremony at the church, bring in more of a classic feel there, but then at your reception go a little more like boho and informal. But there are definitely certain aspects you can't mix.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like ceremony and reception, like kind of having them as two separate vibes that have a similar like style could be a good way to kind of appeal to both people. And then sometimes you just have to compromise.
Yeah. All about compromise.
Always. That continues past the wedding day.
It does.
And wedding planning.
Compromise is key.
All right. So now we've decided on what our vibe is, and we've worked together and we're mixing, sorts of vibes together. What contributes to it?
To the vibe?
Yeah.
Your guest count?
Definitely.
Yeah. Because you can have an intimate wedding with 250 people.
Can you?
But can you? Can you? No. So I think like that is like a big piece. Like, and if you're gonna have a formal wedding, I think it's also like budget plays a role in it too. Because like if you're gonna have a formal wedding, it's gonna be a lot different on your budget if for 250 people than you would for some of the pieces would add up versus like things like formal. I think like seated dinner versus buffet.
Yeah, definitely.
So that would change a place in it. What else do you think?
Obviously your venue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, you can have a modern wedding in a barn, but a rustic wedding would fit much better in a barn, and a modern wedding in an art museum.
Yeah.
And then kids.
Yes,
the whole formal, informal piece.
Sure.
Kids, no kids. That'll definitely set your vibe real quick.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, if you got like 25 kids running around, it's going to be a totally different vibe than just by nature of children.
How come at every wedding that there are kids there's always a 7-year-old little nephew or boy that is breakdancing in the middle of the
That
floor?
is true.
Always.
Every single time.
Well, and that's the thing with kids is like they're wild cards. So they're just going to
Never know what you're
you
going to
never know what you're going to get. But I feel like you're always going to get one kid who's like, on the dance floor. So that does change the vibe.
You're also going to get one crying in the corner.
Oh, 100%. At least one. So, if you have
That could be a
kids-
bridesmaid too, though.
It could. If you have kids on the dance floor, it's going to change the vibe of that like party like scene if that's what you're going for. It just is by nature of children.
Yes.
So kind of staying along that line. So what is going to ultimately contribute to wedding style?
Just all around the decor of the day, anything that goes into what the day looks like. So that's going to be your attire, your bridal party's attire, your bouquets, your centerpieces, your linens, goodness, even just
Lighting.
your flatware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chargers, the place setting that you're sitting at, even
Signage.
the floor plan alone. Like
Yeah.
if you have like family style
Family
tables,
style.
it's going to be more intimate, more like family. Whereas if you have like rounds, it's a little more formal. If you have a mix, maybe you have farm tables, it tends to be a little more rustic. Open seating. I think that makes a big difference too. And also your invitation. That actually sets your style,
it does
right?
kind of set the tone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Less so, your save the date does a little bit, but your invitation really sets the tone. People kind of know, like, oh, this is going to be a more formal wedding. This is going to be a little more laid back.
It sometimes literally says it on the invitation.
Literally tells you that it's going to be formal or luau.
Right.
It's a popular style.
I'm sure that's what Tua Tunga Vailoa will do.
Oh,
Alabama plug.
Done.
There it is.
Done.
I was reaching deep on it, but
I kind of set you up with the luau.
you did.
Yeah.
You did. My boy's getting ready for the draft. I hope he does well. I hope he gets a good team.
I love it.
As far as translating your style, this is kind of funny to think about, right? How do you translate your style into attire when you first started with what is your attire all the way back through? So how does that translate into what you're wearing on wedding day?
So it goes not only to like making sure you like what you're wearing matches your everyday style, but like considering your bridal party. I mean, that really kind of sets the tone also. If you're doing something formal, then, you know, your groomsmen are going to be in tuxes and your bridesmaids are going to be in floor length, you know, long dresses. Also, matching dresses. That's definitely going to be a little more traditional, a little more classic rather than like the whole mismatch and even sometimes like the floral pattern dresses that we see a lot now. While that's not informal, it's definitely not as classic and traditional and formal feeling as like matching dresses. And then for, you know, the bride, groom themselves, couples themselves, it's, you know, what color tie and does it have a pattern on it? What color is the suit? And even what color is the dress? Because they're not always white nowadays. And does it have sleeves? Does it have, you know, embellishments? Does it have lace? Does it have tulle? All these things are going to affect how your style looks in attire.
Yeah, and I think that's like something to think about too. Like if you're picking out, you know, a ball gown and you're getting married in a barn, it's your day. You can do that. But you're going to have to figure out how to incorporate this little more like traditional formal like style that you've set with your gown into the style you've set with your venue when you're like actually coming together and defining your style. You're going to have to kind of mix those things. So you already kind of started defining your style when you picked your dress.
Right.
And a lot of people pick their dress and their venue like right at the same time. So, you know, you're kind of defining that style a little bit already.
So a little hot take for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
You ready? All right. So
This is where he goes off script.
this is where I go off script and start going rogue. Start getting real. So let's say in this scenario, the bride is looking for a very formal vibe, right? And all the bridesmaids are in floor length gowns. And the groom and the groomsmen want to go tan linen suit. No tie. Discuss.
Disgust. I thought you almost said disgust.
No. Well, maybe.
I mean, I think then this goes back to compromise.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you have both?
You can do whatever you want. It's your wedding day. But I'd advise you don't.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That wouldn't be our recommendation. They don't go together.
No.
That's why the bride picks her dress first, and then everybody else kind of falls in line. It's all kind of got to go together. You don't necessarily have to wear a tux, but I don't know if the linen suit is going to go with it.
I feel like most guys want to wear like a linen suit. I don't.
Maybe add a tie to it at least.
Yeah, at least a tie. And maybe make sure that the girls' dresses, at least if they're floor length, they aren't like dark colored. Like maybe they're light colored.
Complement each other.
So they would complement each other a little bit more.
You guys are being super PC. I thought I'd get an opinion out of y'all.
I think Lauren was right. Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Just don't.
All right, back on track here. How do flowers differ with style?
Ooh, so color, obviously. And obviously there's so many different types of flowers that which flower, you know, exact flower type you choose also does kind of affect your style. I mean, anybody can use a rose, anybody can use eucalyptus, no matter your style. But then there are other flower types that you mix in with those that are going to create one style over another.
Yeah, like hydrangeas.
Yeah, a little more classic.
Yeah, southern.
Yep, exactly. And then like King Protea is definitely a little more boho.
You just made that word up.
Those might actually be my favorite.
And succulents. I love succulents.
Yeah, succulents.
Yeah.
Which can go, succulents I feel like can kind of go multiple ways.
It can, yeah. It's mixed with the right thing.
Yeah,
See,
it depends on what you mix it with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all about how it comes together.
Yeah, I agree.
And the colors. Obviously, white is going to be more classic, traditional. If you add color in, it doesn't really change your style, but it changes the vibe a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like anything outside of like the neutrals, which includes like blush and very light greens. I feel like it adds something to your style.
Yeah, and then also how you display the flowers. So like if you're talking bouquets, you can have them, you know, wrapped with ribbon all the way down and cover the entire stem. Or you can have just one piece of ribbon with the open stem and then have the ribbon flowing, which is a little more natural.
Yeah. Or like even the way the bouquets are like formed.
Yes,
like
exactly.
if they're like super tight, that's a little more traditional and classic. Whereas if they have like more greenery and like more flowing, it's a little more natural garden boho. Could
Yeah.
go a variety of different ways. But
And then how they're on the tables too.
Yeah.
Like vases and candles and
mercury
it all-
glass
yeah.
versus
clear.
clear.
You guys are getting really excited about this.
We're also both like deep into designing right now.
We are.
with couples, so it's top of mind.
We are.
Are
We can
succulents
talk
still
about this for a
cool
long time.
When done right.
when done right?
Yeah.
It's been around for a minute.
It has been around for a minute.
All right.
I think like done in like accent as opposed to
Yeah.
like full on succulents.
Yeah.
That was popular a couple years ago.
We actually just featured a wedding here in Charlotte. That was actually Something Perfect couple. Lauren and Rosie's wedding. They did
Oh, yeah.
succulents. And it was like a very garden industrial vibe. I really, really liked it.
Yeah, that was really pretty.
Yeah, you guys should go check it out. See,
Shameless
I
plug.
can do a plug too.
Shameless plug. I love it.
I
love
listen
it.
to enough.
So, all right. So then, last question for you: how can I decorate the room based on my style, outside of the flowers, of course?
You start this.
Okay. I think the color, like your tables, like how they look besides the flowers. So the linens, the chairs. Do you have chargers that are more formal? Do you have chivalry chairs that are more traditional, or do you have crossback chairs that are more like, I don't know, rustic boho garden, natural,
Yeah, a little
bit of
versatile.
everything. Ghost chairs that are like, I feel
Modern.
like, yeah, very modern.
Yeah.
I would say that's like the biggest piece, right?
Yeah. And then, like you said, the actual floor plan.
Yeah.
So, like family style.
Lighting can make a big difference. It doesn't really like set your style, but it can set the vibe for the room. You know, like I feel like lighting and drapery can make a huge space feel more intimate. It can highlight like some things, like if you're really trying to highlight like certain tables or cake or something like that. It can set the vibe. Less style, more vibe.
Yeah. And I think there's become a big focus on like a statement piece in the room, which also definitely will bring out your style. If I knew about it when I got married, obviously I'd have a champagne wall.
Obviously.
And that would set my style.
Obviously.
That's not a secret.
Yes, I could definitely do that. And the hanging chandelier.
Yeah. See, like
The
greenery
hanging chandelier
chandeliers,
thing is
yeah.
like, oh man, I love them.
Flower walls.
yeah.
Neon signs are kind of cool right now.
Yeah, neon signs. There's so many cool things that you can do. Lounge area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that definitely all ties in. And then signage too.
Yeah.
If you are having signage, is your sign on, rustic wooden pieces? Are they on acrylic pieces?
My favorite.
Yeah. So-
I feel like signage wasn't a big thing until like a couple years ago.
No, it kind of blew up.
Yeah.
And
So
then
now-
it was like signage galore. And now I feel like we found like a happy medium of signage finally.
Like 2 or 3 signs.
Yeah. Enough is enough.
That's good.
Yes.
So, as always, you want to close it out for our couples. Kind of what are those key things they should be thinking about as they're defining their style?
You want to take this,
is me?
Lauren?
Okay. Well, it's not like I wrote it or anything. So, I mean, start picking up cues from your everyday life and, look for inspiration in places that don't seem obvious to you, but it is very obvious because you're there every day. It's your house. It's even, your cubicle at your office. It's your wardrobe. It's the stores you go into. All of these things are defining your style, and you just don't realize it. So start looking up cues from there, and then decide how you want to transfer that into your wedding style to really personalize things. So, do you want to mimic Anthropologie that you were in the other day because the store just really inspired you and you loved everything you saw? Really how you want to take that and piece it together for your wedding.
And if you aren't sure, you can go to Bustld and take the quiz. This is a real shameless plug.
Yes.
And we'll help you define your style.
Yes.
Yeah.